Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another episode of Candid Conversations. This is episode 191. We're here with Wade Wilson.
Yeah, what's good?
Life is, fam. Life's good. Can't tell you how things are just. You know when when you're developing a plan and the plan's coming to fruition, but not enough is set for you to speak on it.
Oh my God, you sound like my entire life and career almost. Like,
You know,
cause
it's like you said it and it's happening, but because there's enough people to like, I feel that if you tell the people who believe in you what you're doing, it will happen faster. But if you tell 10 people and one of them disbelieves, you'll have to tell another 10 people who believe because that one sour grape will just make it harder by spreading their venom through the other nine.
well, I see it. Well, I see it. This is two things because I've dealt with this a lot. One is, you know, it's on both sides because you know how people say keep going because you never know who's cheering for you,
Okay.
but also you got to keep your eyes open because you never know who's the hater and who's the detractor. Like, I've had cats come out of left field and I'll be like, man, why didn't this thing happen? And somebody come out later and be like, oh, such and such told them not to give you that show because XYZ reason. They didn't like how you handled this thing. Like, it could be, I mean, there's so many examples. To
Hmm.
get the details is hard, but I always say, you gotta be on both sides of your thing. And I am a big, whether you call it superstition, whatever, I'm a big person. Like, I don't tell people what's going on too much. Like, I might give people just enough to stay involved, but I don't want them, to know the inner workings of what's going on.
All
Call me
right.
paranoid.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, no, I hear you 100%. I'd actually like to take a moment to welcome back Rob Graham. He was on the podcast earlier. Um, yeah, we're gonna have a bit of a conversation. Here you go. Um,
What up? What
he's
up?
Hey, brother, nice to meet you, man. How you doing?
What's up? Chilling, man. Another day. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
yes, sir, yes, sir. So whereabouts are you located?
I live in Brooklyn, Bushwick, to be precise.
Okay,
Um,
okay, nice, nice.
yeah.
Tell me one thing you love about Brooklyn that anyone who's heading that way to see you play would want to check out while they're there.
I mean, the first thing everyone's gonna say is kind of food. Like food in Brooklyn
Yeah,
is, you can find. I mean, almost anything that you want to eat, you can find in Brooklyn, and there's multiple places. Like I've lived in other places, and it's like sometimes it's like, oh, you gotta go all the way over here to find this one kind of food. It's like,
is there anywhere in
I,
specific you want to shout out or personally recommend to anyone traveling there? There's a few people that I work with that are going to be heading down that way, and I personally would like something to recommend to them.
well, Well, always. I mean, of course, Italian food. There's a great place. It's like legendary called Tony's on. I'm trying. I don't want to tell people exactly where I live, but it's kind of in my neighborhood. It's on this place called Knickerbocker Ave. It's like a part of Bushwick. It's like where there's a bunch of stuff at, and there's a bunch of
Okay,
stores and everything, and it's right off a train stop right there. And it's like two main streets in a set, Myrtle and Knickerbocker right there. So it's like a lot of stuff in that one area. There's everything from
Check that out. Yeah, check that out.
yeah. So Tony's, and also this is more like the late night spot. Like back when I still used to drink and stuff a lot. This was a known place. It's called La Isla, and it's right there in the same area as Tony's, but they stay open like till like 4 in the morning.
nice. What
So if you
when's last
coming out
call?
of any club,
Yeah,
sorry, say what?
that is a good question.
When is last call out there?
Um, that's kind of a shaky question because,
Ah,
well, no,
that's
I'm just saying, I'm just keeping it a buck because you gotta remember. All right, so if you're like at a club or spot like that, normally somewhere around 3, 4, they definitely gonna stop. I've been at places that close as early as 2, but there's a
Yeah,
whole lot of
you
questions
gotta stop
about
with
what's
it.
legal.
Yeah,
Because
we legally we gotta shut down by 2. Some of these suckers are closing up around 11:30, 12.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I've been on that end of it too, especially not here in the city. Cause like you even go right over in New Jersey, where I also have lived. Now Atlantic City is 24 hours. There's no cutoff in Atlantic City.
So
Oh,
I
one
mean,
thing
it's also
I can tell you about Ontario, Canada, is that because of the 2 a.m. cutoff, the after party is a big thing down here. After every concert,
mhm.
after everything, there's always an after party. There's dozens of them happening somewhere. Do you guys do the after party, even though you're able to stay out that late?
Well, I mean, again, it's case by case basis. Cause like um, there's bars and stuff, especially smaller places, tend to be a little bit more strict. But like, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. If you live in New York, like almost anywhere, there's something going on. Like any event that happens, there's after, and then there's what some people jokingly refer to the after party, which is like it's a little usually a little bit more exclusive. Like not everyone's like almost anybody can go to an after party. Like they might even be at the show or at the event telling you like, "Oh, come here after."
Yeah,
But there's a thing like some people say the after party, which is like usually a little bit more exclusive. It's usually in some place.
yeah.
Um, I like just a story that I tell from this. I played this show, and it was like these guys. They're like writers for like shows, and I'm not gonna put them on blast because I don't want it to get tracked back. But they have written for TV shows that you've watched, basically, or you at least know what they are. And like, bro, we went, and it was like a regular show. It was a few people there. It wasn't like crazy packed. But like these people were like movers and shakers, right? And I did my little 15-minute set. There was like comedians and all kinds of stuff there. And the guys invited me. They were like, yeah, everybody that performed and a few other people. Yo, we went to this dude's crib, right? Yo, when we got there, he lived on a floor where you don't press a button. He got a key. He got a
oh,
key. He's stuck in the elevator. And I guess the elevator door won't open if you try to go to that floor if you don't got a key. Then we
well,
go in to the
Either
floor.
that's scary or that's Bond.
That's baller. Yeah.
Yeah.
We go up. Yo, where my man living room is, the building that's the New Yorker, like the New Yorker, like you see it lit up over the skyline. You like looking at the side of that famous New York sign from his living room. Like you sitting in there and it's like part of the city's like his living room view. And then he's got like his own personal way up to the roof, and it's like overlooking the city, and it's like like, and that was the after party.
that's
Was that
aesthetic.
dude's spot with that? Looking at that.
Shoot, I'm sitting here. That's what I want to be when I grow up. Except maybe on the ground level, looking at water. Um,
Word,
I'm used
word,
to living
word.
in top of buildings like that. Just if I was supposed to be that high, I need to have leader wings. Well, I got one or the other. You see, I ain't flapping. So,
Right, 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 right. Yeah. But hey, look, I'll tell anybody. I'm like you. It's like that's what baller wants to be when baller grows up. You feel me?
yep.
Like that was next level. But that's how crazy. And I mean, I've heard everything from people being like they ended up in the Hamptons. People had private cars and they went out somewhere like the Hamptons, is like way out in Long Island. Like it's like crazy. I've heard everything.
Oh man. Yeah, yeah. That's a high life out there. So, man, how long have you been making music?
Um, like so long. I don't I tell you what I do know, and what I've always remembered. I did my first show when I was 9 years old. I was in third grade,
Okay.
and I was gonna do. I'm gonna say I don't remember exactly, but I want to say I was gonna do like a Fresh Prince song, Will Smith song,
Yeah.
and there was this teacher, Miss Green. Never forget her. she asked me how did I get to know the song, and I was like, oh, I heard it on radio, and like I got some cousins that's got cable or whatever. And she's like, you don't own this song, and you didn't listen to it like 100 times. I was like, nah. I was like, I like the song a lot, like whatever. And she's like, if you memorize the song off TV and radio, you can write your own song. And she put me and this other kid, Richie and Stanley. I think if I remember was Richie I knew. Stanley I didn't really know. But she put us together in a group. And just to show you it was like the what time period it was, she dressed us up and we had like jeans, button up shirts, and ties on, kind of like that new edition Boys the Men look.
Yeah,
Kind of like that look. So, and she put the three of us together in this rap group, and she made us. And well, she didn't make us. We wanted to do it. She had us do this song, and that's. I tell people like this: when I stepped on stage and saw the people, that was the first moment. But when we finished and people started clapping, I was like, "This is what I want to do."
yep,
Like I knew at that moment, I was bit by the bug, and I was just like. I had imitated people I seen on TV, and my sister used to make fun of me and be like, because I get like a broom or like a brush handle, and I be imitating what I see on TV with like singers and rappers and stuff. And I'll be serious about it, man. I would be like, I'd be sweating like I do now from a show. As a little kid, I was that serious. Like I'd get into the movements and everything. And my
yeah,
sister would be
You can
like,
still get that
you're
like
an
that, right?
idiot. Like she just look at me and be like, what's wrong with you? Like, but
yeah.
I knew once I heard that applause and saw the audience react, I was like, this is what it is. Like that was, and I don't really come from the kind of I don't come from like a performance family really like that. The most my family was doing was like church, so it's like I kind of had to find my own path. I didn't really have that. Oh, my mom's taking me to a tryout to be in this music group, or I knew kids that one kid I grew up with, his mom took him to like the Apollo to try to get on like that and like stuff like that. But that's just not how I grew up. You know what I'm saying? It's not the family I come
Individual
from.
opportunities.
But I would try everything. I would wire up speakers and microphones and like just make up ways to make beats. I used to make pause beats where you pause the tape or whatever you're recording with and wind back whatever the before I didn't have a sampler. I didn't have money for that kind of stuff. So
So you're
or I
making
didn't know
manual
anyone that had it.
loops. Manual loops is something I did back in the day too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And just and then, being a kid wanting to do it and not knowing, and it's like, well, I know how to do this. I know how to record a sound over and over. So that's what that's how that started. And my cousin Lavar, he he had cancer when we was kids, and it was like in his leg, so he couldn't get around. So my uncle and aunt, they got him a bunch of stuff he could do in the house, and one of the things was DJing. Like he had all these records and stuff, and they got turntables for me. We were little kids when he had this. Like I think I was, it was the next year. I was like 10. He was like 8. He's 2 years younger than me. So like, and we would just mess with the music, figure out ways. Like we saw people do that, but we didn't even know. Like we would take like a whole bunch of time and just put our finger on the turntable and be like, "Yo, the record's playing backwards." Like, like we was like so amazed at this stuff, and
yeah,
we just
yeah.
used to spend mad time doing that. And we actually, I just talked to him recently, and we were talking about. He's like, "Yo, do you remember when you did this thing?" And I was like, yo, I hadn't even thought about that in years, but I do remember this. Like he was talking about, remember we was in the living room and we was like using records we wasn't supposed to use, like
Yep, yep, yep.
the what's her name? The Jackson lady. Millie Jackson?
Mahalia.
No, but no,
Jan?
she was like no, she was like a dirty singer.
Oh, oh,
Like
oh, oh, oh. Yeah, I think it is Millie.
I think it's Millie Jackson. Like she used to have curse words and all this stuff. Like she used to sing, but she would make songs about sex. And there was a noise that she made that we heard, and we was trying to get that sample. And he was like, "Yo, do you remember what's getting in trouble for trying to sound?" I was like, "Oh man." He's like, "And you made that track or whatever?" And I was like, I was repeating words. I didn't even know what they meant. Like repeated them from other rappers. I was like trying to do this tough guy shit. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
like, and like it was like, and we got busty, and it was like, yo, you can't be doing this. Like you guys are little kid. I guess we was like there did be hardcore little kid rappers, but I guess we were like ahead of the wave. Like like
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
we was like illegal and like what was the other dudes? The youngsters. We was like them dudes before that was even a thing yet. It was probably about the same time actually, but you know what I'm saying? Like we're a little younger than those guys. So,
Okay.
but yeah, it was always we was like coming up with stuff and cooking stuff up. And uh somewhere in there, how you get older and some people aren't into it, but I just kept going. I kept
Yep.
writing songs. I would get old busted equipment from people because I'm from around the way. I didn't come from money like that, and like I would get old busted equipment from people, try to record my own songs.
Yeah, bro.
Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, like I remember I had the 4-track task cam. Like I had it, and people
Oh,
were
nice.
already starting to
On my
use
phone? Can you just log in?
people were already starting to use like computers and stuff, and I was still like chugging along with like an old 4-track from somebody. Like it's like a cassette tape that you used to record with, and that like however you want to say that is, but that's where I was with the uh that yeah that's I was like behind. I didn't kind of catch up until the times until I went to college. Like after I went
Okay.
to college, I took an electronic music course, and then I kind of started catching up to where everybody else was. But
Okay.
but it wasn't until then, and you know, I don't even count those high school and middle school rap groups. I don't even really count them the same because nobody knew what they was doing, and it
Yeah,
was
yeah.
it was fun. It made me sharp because um,
How'd
not
you
that
go?
I'm bragging, but I ran through the kids my age. So then I had these two cousins, Traj, because I lived down south too. I had a cousin Rod down there, and up here I had a cousin Traj, and I was like they wonder kid. Like they bring me around and be like, yo, and, I was a little kid, and these are like older teenagers and on. And then like they'd be like, "Yo, spit for him" or whatever, and people used to be like, "Yo, this little kid just got bars and shit." And some people used to get mad because they'd be mad a little kid was rapping as good as them and stuff. But I didn't understand it, and I just wanted to rap. I didn't get until later that there was kids really getting mad. Like these kids are probably about to fuck me up sometimes. As a little ass kid saying smart aleck shit to him. But yeah, so it just kept going, and then got to college, and that's really when it started taking off. I had a group with this kid Cyclone. He still does. He writes about music now. He still does some stuff, but we was in a group. He mostly made the beats. I was a rapper. We met in like one of the programs at college. We started there, and then we drifted apart as college went on. He went on one. I think he went to business school or whatever, because we were in art school together. But I think he went to business school after that, and I graduated and started doing design. And I went through the whole thing of oh, I'm an adult now, and people be like, oh, you got to get together, and I was like, I was going to quit doing music. Like I was like, oh, I got to be grown now, or whatever, and
Hmm.
uh, I went through a whole set. It's a dark origin story, if you will, but I put it this way: I lost most of the stuff I had going for me, like girl and job, and a whole bunch of other stuff fell through. All the idyllic stuff that you think you're gonna do when you get out of school, and then I was like, I was staying with a friend. I didn't really have nowhere else to go, and like there used to be this channel on cable, Music Choice, and it would play random music. And I guess it was the channel they left it on. All these instrumentals started playing, and I don't know. It was like a movie or something because it was like I turned my head and it was like I can't not make something to this beat. It was like
Mm.
so it was
Right.
like I just like grabbed some paper from somewhere and I started writing. And then at this time I hadn't written in months, but it just came back and I was just like, it was like I started talking about everything that's going on the last few months. I was just making hot bars, like just punchlines and stuff. Like it was just coming out. And that's when I realized I was like, I couldn't stop if I wanted to, honestly. Like this is something that's in me that drives me or something,
Yeah.
you know. So even though I had no idea what I was gonna do next, I was like, all right, I can't really be like I'm gonna quit music. Like this is a part of me. And you know, I was in college down south. I was in Charlotte at that time.
Sure.
So I was like, screw this. Was like, and I came back home to the Northeast. Um, I was staying with family in Jersey for a minute. I bounced around. You know, I did the usual. I mean, because I'm originally from New Jersey, so it's like a running joke. Because I'm kind of more from Central Jersey, even though I was born further south. Like I was born in Atlantic City, but I'm kind of from the Central Jersey, which is like New Brunswick, Trenton, that whole area, going out to the shore. That's like Asbury Park and all that. That's like that area of New Jersey. And the joke there is that when you move up a level, you either move to like Philly or you go to New York. That's like the running joke there. Because they're literally, if you're in that part of New Jersey, you're an hour from each major city in either direction. So it's like a
Yeah.
run. And I was on, and lo and behold, I ended up doing those things. I stayed in Philly for a real short time, wasn't my deal, and I always kind of been more of a New York guy as far as everything went, like all my favorite sports teams and everything, and where I would even and when I chose to just hang out, I would tend to go more to New York than Philly and other stuff like that. So, and I had lived in New York before, had family in Queens. I lived in Jamaica, Queens, kind of by South Side, like on the edge there. And yeah, so that's so it's like and me and my mom lived in Queens, so it's like I already had kind of that mindset a little bit. So when it came time, the only difference was nobody in my family lived in Brooklyn, really. That was the only thing. And like um New Yorkers are territorial. That's the best way I could explain it
I get that.
because
I get that. Yeah.
uh when I told my mom, I was like, "Yeah, I'm going back to the sea." Like, it just the way my life was lining up at that time, and the first thing she says is, "Oh, you gonna move to Queens?" And then it was like, I told her I was moving to Brooklyn, and then she was like, "Brooklyn." And it was almost like she never said it, but it was almost like the reaction I almost expected her to say, "Why wouldn't you move to Queens?" Like, so you know, my mom is a Queens gal, so she thinks I should be in Queens, and she's it's like, but you know, I'm staking my own claim in Brooklyn over these years, so it's just been
Maybe she just
funny.
wants you close by, brother.
Say what?
And maybe she just wants you close by. That's your mom, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you know, your parents got their own thing anyway too, but like, yeah, and I think it was also a family thing. Like she thought that you know. Like your parents always gonna see you as a kid, man. Like
Yeah.
you can be like in your 80s and they in their hundreds and they still gonna think you a little ass kid, man. It's just
Yep.
it's the way they see you, man. And I think that was the same thing. She still expected me to be a little kid in Jamaica, Queens, like I was fucking however many years ago.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So if you weren't making music, what would you be doing?
Um, Probably either some kind of graphic thing or like um Man, I mean, I don't know how good I would have been. I probably would have concentrated a little bit more playing sports than I did. I did play sports, but man, it's hard to say
What
because
was your thing? What was your thing?
what did I play?
Yeah, man. What was your thing?
Oh,
Sure.
mostly basketball. Like I
Yeah.
was, I'm only about 6 feet tall, so I was always a point guard. But I like, you know, I did the whole every point guard, Allen Iverson, Stoudemire, like all those guys is the dudes I wanted to be like. So I was like, I really thought myself. I even had the cornrows. Like I really was on some like I'm AI shit. Like I was also, like I really thought I was like AI. But yeah, basketball was my sport. I still love basketball. Um, I I did other sports, but it was kind of like a one off. Like I did track and I did like and I played soccer. I played football 1 year. I just like I couldn't. Basketball was the only thing that I stuck with. You know what I'm saying? And I liked
Yeah.
it.
You
And
you got in the zone. You felt it. It was like it was your
yeah,
thing. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I had, I always say that the thing you're the best at is when people keep asking you to play that. So like
Yeah.
out of all the sports I've played, basketball is the one other people kept asking me. Like people asked me to get on their teams, and people
Yeah.
would be like, "Yo, why don't you sign up for this league or whatever, or like try out for this thing." Like
So,
that
do you
was
have
the
a most memorable moment from these days? Because man, it sounds like you went. Sounds like you went hard on the court. Yeah. Hard in the paint, if you
a memorable a basketball memory.
Yeah, man.
You
What's
said?
you got a favorite at all? Like, give us a couple, bro. There's got to be
Oh, I
something that
do.
you'll never forget, right?
I do. So there was this kid. He was on he was on the college team, but also you learn that these things got politics in it. He was on the college team, but he was just that kind of dude. Like he had played at all these different levels and stuff already, and he was like friends with the other guys that were on the team. He went to all the right basketball camps, the whole deal, right?
Yeah, man.
But
That's fun.
but the general consensus was that he wasn't that nice at it.
Yeah.
And we had like club teams and almost like what you would call like a JV. Like other schools would come and we would go to other local schools and play.
Yeah.
And it was one day. I guess I got two. This is one of them. So this dude, Johnny Williams, was his name. He was there and he was trying to D me up all hard. And I kept being like, dude, you can't get the ball from me. Just stop this, yo. And so he made some smart remark, and I crossed over and I pointed at him like this, and I jumped back and shot a. I had no idea I was gonna make it, but it just so happened people were watching when I did this to him. So when I pointed and hit the J like that, it swished, and everybody was like, "Yo!" And it was like I sunned him in the moment. And the other one, not many people saw, but the dudes I played with. But I still just it was like my Allen Iverson moment. I called it. I could always jump high, but I like never quite got the rhythm to dunk consistently. But every now and then I have my moment. And we were playing against some school in South Carolina, Foreman or Warford or something like that. And we were coming down, and like these are other kids that are trying to move up and trying to make other college teams too, just like we were.
Yeah. Mhm.
And somebody shot the ball. I had dished the rock off because, like I said, I was a point guard. Dished the rock off, and I ran around to help this dude get the open shot. And he shot, and it was like the perfect little bounce. And I jumped, and there was a dude. He was like, he had to be like 6'9", 6'11". Like he was pushing towards getting 7 feet tall. He's a lot bigger than me too. And I jumped. And it was like I just jumped. I didn't even think about it. And it was like I looked and I was like, oh, I'm still going up. And it was like I looked and I was like, oh shit. I was like, my hand was like this high above the damn rim. I was like, I don't even know where that jump came from that high. And the dude was right here and he went like this to like stop me. And I cocked my arm back and dunked like that kind of over him. And it was
Uh-huh.
like just that. But it was like one of those moments because I had to hang onto the rim like this because of the way the force was because I would have hit the floor. But my boy was just like, "Yo, that shit looks so cool just now when he did this," and it was like I got the N1 and everything, but it was just like
Nice.
my boys on the team was just like, "Yo," and it was like, "Yo, I wish I had that recorded or something," because that's like my highlight of my basketball career, dunking over a dude that's like pushing 7 feet.
And so, for
I want to
anybody out
say,
there who was at this game who might happen to have footage,
That is the one.
send them. Tell them where to send it, brother.
yeah, send it to where WadeTech13 at Gmail. If you if you find that, I doubt there's anything like that because I probably would have found it at that
How else,
time because I was into it.
how else can people get a hold of you for your musical endeavors?
Um, well, the easiest thing is to get on my social media because I keep up with it. Like the only thing that I'm off for like a decent period of time, like a couple days, and sometimes I lose my TikTok. But my Instagram is Wadetech, WADETECH. I tell people follow me there because I check that a lot and I'm usually posting, keeping
Say
people
that again
updated
one
with
more
what's
time
going
for us,
on.
there, brother. Shout that out one more time
It's
for us.
it's Wadetech, WADETECH. It's like kind of just like my thing that I came up with somewhere along the line. Wade Technology, Wade Tech, and my my Twitter is Wade Wilson World, and my TikTok is Wade Tech 13. As those are the
Oh,
easiest ways to catch up with me. I have a link tree too that keeps a lot of stuff, but it's hard because people take stuff off the internet like crazily. Like stories that were written about me at other interviews and stuff, I go and try to find them and they're not hosted anymore. So
oh,
I like constantly got to update the link tree because people, you know, I finally had that article. I don't know if you guys know about this, but I say when you're a music artist, you know, you get that article that, and it's like really well written and people are making references in it and you can tell they paid attention to your music. Well,
mhm.
I got one of those by this guy. He was kind of known for writing like underground indie hip hop, especially. And it was like one of those like he said something like he said like a scene like he was like, "There's just been a rain. It's kind of twilight." He's like, and you hear Wade Wilson's mantra pumping from a car stereo, and he's like, he like set this mood and everything. I was like, "Yo, this is the kind of article I always wanted." I did. The dude went offline, and I have nowhere, I have no idea where he went,
Oh,
and the link doesn't work anymore. And like, I'm kicking myself because I was like, yo, I should have copy and pasted that whole article and just saved it somewhere.
One thing
Also,
I'll tell
that's
you, as like
mhm.
an older balder dude, is to, if you can get a copy of that paper or you can get a printout or anything, save not only a digital and a backup, but like have a print copy of these things too. You know,
Yeah.
it's a
I'm
our
starting
drive
to catch
our
up
drive
to
Christmas
that.
brand. It
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah. I went through that whole thing because I had a lot of years where I was kind of, let me see the political correct way to say this. I did not have an established address. Let's put it
Okay,
that way.
okay,
Um,
okay.
I was in between places, and I just had like a laptop, some clothes, and like a sound card,
Hell
and
yeah.
Been there,
and
done
and
that,
I
like
mean,
that Indian friend.
couple backpacks. That was my entire life for a minute that I had for a minute there, and one of my hard drives went missing. I'm pretty sure someone stole it. Like when I was staying at somewhere that was suspect, I'm pretty sure someone stole it. But I guess I could have lost it. But it was one of those things where all the other people living there were suspect too. So like it was like I'm never getting a straight answer about any from anybody about where my stuff could be. But
I'll tell
I
you this
tried.
though, if that was all on paper, it wouldn't have went missing. That's why I tell you,
Yeah,
always also have it on paper. Just print it out, buy the
yeah.
newspaper, the magazine, whatever it is. It's good to
For
just have
future
it.
reference.
Yeah.
To your
But yeah,
point, all the notebooks that I had from that era, like handwritten, I still have all that from that same era,
That's
even
what I
though I
mean.
was in between. Yeah, you to your point. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
so yeah, that's good. Now we're getting close to the end of the show here, but before we end it, I'd like to flip the script. Now, when I flip the script, it's when we get the guest to play the role of the host, and they get to say whatever they want to say, or make any statements they have, or ask any questions they may have. So,
I wasn't
Wade,
aware of this.
Wade Wilson, the floor is yours as we flip the script.
Okay, flip the script. Um, what would you be doing if you weren't interviewing musicians and other
Ooh,
entertainers?
I'd likely be working for my aunt's law firm.
Okay.
Yeah, I did for a bit, and then I too had a relocation of habitat. So, so
Nothing
yeah.
from you?
Pardon?
No, I was saying nothing from him. Nothing,
Oh yeah, yeah. What about
or
you?
what's the question? I was honestly too busy laughing a little bit there.
What if you were making music? What would you be doing?
Honestly, I would probably just be going to concerts and just working and going to concerts, man. I, I love music so much that if I wasn't being a part of it, that I would just be going out and supporting local. Because like all of the bands that I grew up like loving got famous because of their local scene supporting them. Like nobody would have heard of them without that. So like as an adult, especially since I've heard it so like I don't I hear so much stuff all the time. I love hearing new music. I love hearing stuff I've never heard before, and a lot of the time you got to go underground to find that, and that's
yeah.
where a lot of the best stuff is nowadays. So, if I wasn't making music, I'd just be fucking following it to heart, man.
Okay, this is my one, and I feel like it hangs up people a lot. But five records. Now, I'm not saying that you think they're the best records, or they're like or everyone should listen to these or whatever. But what are five records that you would tell someone to listen to if they wanted to know about you?
Uh, if they want to know something about me, okay. Um, First off, I don't know. This is gonna sound extraordinarily fucking popish. I guess maybe there'd be a couple of underground type things there, but so the first was Corn when I was a kid because they're like a Scottish punk type band, which was great. And then there's Linkin Park, which was like really the first time that I actually heard the rapper or like because like I'd never my parents like didn't they play like old fucking 1970s bullshit, right? So like the first time I ever heard like NWA and Dre and all them guys and shit like that. I wasn't until I was in my teens. So the first little bit there for the first person, I was like, I like this, and my parents were like, "What? This isn't music and shit." So I had to like it secretly. It was like I liked Ice Cube, I liked Cake. I know that's like fucking whatever, but like that song, "The Distance," was great and shit. And
Yeah, the
fucking
distance. Yeah.
and then the Slim Shady LP came out, and fuck, bro, everything started to change. And so I was going down a punk scene with the instruments I was learning how to play. I was like getting into Corn and Limp Bizkit and Linkin Park, and then the other way I was going was like Blink-182, Green Day type shit, right? Like things that you can bust out at a party that people will like. And the other, because if you got know the like corniest, cheesiest, most commonly played rock songs and then the other half will listen to like fucking hip hop, right? So you got to have somebody who comes from both walks of life and shit. Like that's one thing that I've always respected is the combination of the both. Like I love rap, I love rock. I actually like when they're combined the best.
All
I don't know
right.
if that makes me lame, but
No, that makes you innovative. For me, all right, I'd have to say Extinction Level Event.
Nice
That's one of them.
Buster.
Yeah, that's one of them for sure. That's why I listened to that album until I had to buy a new album because I was listening to the album so much. Believe it or not, Madhouse Pepper Seed Jam. That was like from '91. My mom came back from Jamaica, and I asked her to bring me something back, and she brought me back. Well, she brought my dad back some records, and it was one of those. It's kind of like you were talking about playing the records when you should have been playing the records kind of thing. So I was only given records without swearing. So then, what else?
Damn that parental advisory.
I'm telling you. And then it was MC Hammer's first album. Listen to that forever. Oh man, I'd have to say if you want to learn about me, you'd have to listen to Cheshire Black, which is my first album. That album I released in 2020. I've released like tons of songs before then, but that was my first official album
Yeah,
release.
how many in total have you released, man? Because I've loved everything since I first met you
I've
like
re-
10 years ago.
I've recorded over 700 songs. I
Woo!
have maybe I have maybe 300-400 of them on my phone.
Damn,
Um, yeah, and
that's prolific.
I have released at least 60, 80 officially on like different platforms with different artists. Like I've been on xrpradio dot uk dot co no dot co dot uk. And there's something in the mix with that. I've been on. Oh my gosh, I've been on a few different avenues. I'm a part of the Village Global Network, which is reaching 191 countries worldwide and is a conglomerate of creatives that have their own shows and are broadcasting them through the stations that we have syndicated, monitored by online radio box and brought to you in part by Zeno.fm. My specific channel is Zeno.fm/CULCHASHOCKRADIO, Culture Shock Radio, where you will hear the replay of this episode of Candid Conversations, as well as the previous one on Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. on Culture Shock Radio. As well, you'll hear the repeat for the Terrell Effect on Saturday at 8 a.m. on Culture Shock Radio. Culture Shock Radio, we are the product. This is production. All right. So
Nice.
that last one, oh my gosh. I would have to say, ooh, it's hard. It's difficult because
That's what she said.
no, one of the okay, well, one of those songs, one of the albums that I listen to a lot that kind of define the way I make music as well is it was the Attitude Era, the WWE Attitude Era mixtape. Not the
The rap joint,
pardon?
where all the rappers jumped on the WWE
Yeah.
theme songs.
Yes, yes.
Aggression, aggression,
Aggressive.
aggression
Yes.
is the name of it. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, I know
pivotal.
that. Yeah, that's
Yes.
wicked. That's such a dope. I
Yeah.
don't know, bring together. That's that. I mean, I feel you because that's also like an era that I don't even think it's not like that anymore. Yeah, there it is.
It's
My
not
man's got
like
the
that
belt.
anymore. I gotta bring
That's
this out
dope.
every now and again, bro. I got to because um I used to work. Well, actually, I just recorded. We just recorded the episode of Me and the Boys Wrestling, which is brought to you by POE James Owen Brown. And if you want to see our mania of wrestling, you can check it out this Saturday on youtube.com/ at POEJOB. No, at POEZ. So youtube.com/ at POEZ. And you will see the mania of wrestling. It's gonna be mad. There's all kinds of matches featuring it's season 8 is closing down basically, and you got to see what's happening, what culminates. Um, we have another announcement to do with wrestling as well. April 27th, the Northern Wrestling Experience, as well as the Canadian Wrestling Federation, will be returning to a new building at 203 Carlton Road in St. Catharines, and they will have a Smash Mouth show called Canadian Carnage that you should be there for. Check the new setup, check out the development, come see what's going down. 203 Carlton Road, St. Catharines, Ontario. If you're local, if you like wrestling, come check it out.
Tell me that date one more time, man.
April 27th, 203 Carlton Road. Come check it out. Yeah.
No doubt, no doubt.
Where we get tickets for this?
You get tickets at cwfcanada.com.
Sweet. Thanks, bro.
All right, no problem, no problem.
And hey, man, it was so nice to meet you. So nice for you to let me
Nice meeting
co-host.
you guys.
No problem, no problem. Yeah, is there anything else you have to say before we shut it down?
Where can we
Um,
find your music? Tell us.
the easiest way to find my music now is Bandcamp. It's seriously, I put everything I put out, I put on there in some form or another. And
All right, hit us up with that link, and then drop that link in that comments for everybody. Please, please,
okay,
brother.
so it's it the I don't even know. Can I leave messages here? I don't know, but yeah. So it's WadeWilson.bandcamp.com. Very simple, easy to remember. Just my name, WadeWilson.bandcamp.com. It's very easy to remember. And that's why I always just say Wade Tech covers everything. Because if you go to my IG page, it links to all the other stuff that I have. And it's the
Right,
easiest
right.
way. And I tell everyone get on my um, fan email registry. You'll get exclusives and like mixtape stuff that people don't get and previews of stuff that I'm doing on there. It's a fun little thing that I do. Like, there's not that many people following right now, but if you get into the music, I feel like that's one of the best ways to keep up with me consistently is join my email list.
All right, all right,
So yeah,
all right.
and yeah, it was dope with you guys, and also the punk and the wrestling stuff is also right up my alley. We didn't get too much into that, but it's this stuff is
Oh,
near and dear to my heart.
You
Trust
know what?
me.
you're gonna have to come back.
Here's what we're gonna do. We're
Yeah,
gonna have you back on an episode of the Terrell Effect, and then we're gonna feature more of your music, and we'll chop it up about the wrestling stuff.
no doubt. I'm here for it,
Right.
man.
All right, all right. That sounds blessed. That sounds. But before we go, who you got? Rocket Roman or Cody and Seth?
I think everything's about Cody right now. That's
Okay.
what I feel like. I could be wrong. I mean, because it's. I know this is how we want it to go, but I just feel like everything's about like wrestling loves legacies, man. They love
Yep.
legacies.
Yep.
It's just
That's what-
every from the time when I was coming up, everybody that was like the son of or brother or I mean, you guys are from Canada, right? You know the Hart
yes, sir.
Foundation.
Yes,
How many?
sir.
It's like a million of those guys, man. Like
You gotta
they're
remember
still coming
Kevin
up. Yeah.
forever,
So
ever.
yeah. So I'm always gonna guess the legacy is what the legacy people or who's gonna come out on top. That's always my guess.
All right, all right. True, true. Yo, listen, don't be a stranger. We can do a collaboration. I got a magazine, you know what I mean? If you got a show popping up, you know what I mean, let me know. We can, drop you in for a couple minutes and get that info out. But check out sharetheshock.ca for the latest from the soon to be greatest. At Expose the North 8741 if you're looking at our podcast playlist. And be sure to check out the Terrell Effect, which is also monitored by Online Radio Box. So stop copyright striking me. That being said, from the top rope, this is the block saying
Fuck you to people who copyright infringe you.
that too. And watch out for the splash. All
All
right.
right, gentlemen. Thank you for having me.
Bless up, King.
Peace.
Peace.